Good evening, New York, and good morning in China. It's indeed a great pleasure and an honor for me to introduce this evening in New York, Philip Yuan, founder and director of Archi-Union Architects, headquartered in Shanghai. My name is Tom Verabas, professor in architecture at the School of Architecture and Design at NYIT. Firstly, before introducing Philip Yuan, a dear friend for many years, I'd like to warmly thank Dean Maria Perbellini for her support for this series of presentations and interviews titled Beyond the Envelope. Many thanks as well to Professor David Diamond, director of our Master of Architecture program here at New York Tech, for support for my MArch seminar course Beyond the Envelope, within which this series is set. Our events in this series cannot be launched without the dedication of the Lectures and Events Committee, especially Athena Papadopoulou, Alessandra Mellis, and the invaluable administrative support of Susan Sternberg. In addition to founding and directing Archi-Union Architects, Philip Yuan is a professor at the College of Architecture and Urban Planning at Tongji University in Shanghai. In the recent past, he's held roles of Thomas Jefferson Professor at the University of Virginia, visiting professor at MIT and RMIT. He's also the co-founder of Digital Futures Association, editor-in-chief of Architectural Intelligence Journal, and council member of UIA Professional Practice Commission. Yuan's research has led to over 19 publications in the realm of computational design and robotic fabrication. He has lectured at Harvard University, MIT, Columbia, ETH, NSF, InnoChain, and in recent years has given keynote speeches at world-class conferences such as Acadia, Cadria, CAD Futures, Robark, and Fabricate. Philip has been awarded a variety of educational design prizes, including the 2022 AIA Open International Architecture Honor Award, the 2022 Dezeen Award for Best Civic Building, and the 2020 Acadia Innovative Academic Program Award of Excellence. Philip is the mastermind, together with a team at Tongji University, of the Digital Futures World events over the last 3 summers, offering online, free of cost, over 100 workshops and hundreds of lectures and conferences, with up to 13,000 students participating in total each summer. Together with my colleagues, some of my colleagues here at NYIT, we had led one of these workshops as an initiative contributed by the School of Architecture and Design during the Digital Futures events during the pandemic summers of 2020 and 2021. Philip Yuan is a pioneer in architectural intelligence and robotic fabrication, pushing forward his achievements in both academic research and architectural practice. His work emphasizes the integration of technological innovations and architectural culture, building environments and ethics, seeking human-machine collaboration in a post-humanist era. One of the leaders of a young-ish generation of architects, the initiatives and products of Philip's practice as Archi-Union and Fab-Union, along with his teaching and research at Tongji University, are at the forefront of architectural experimentation in China. The Pond Society Qixue project, completed in Shanghai in 2016, represents the outcomes of workflows and a model of production in the particular Chinese context, fusing the application of high and low technologies. This small building encapsulates recent advancements of the architect's office to harness ubiquitous computational design and manufacturing processes with on-site manual labor. The Qixue project combines both Fab-Union's early adopting expertise in robotic fabrication as a surgical invention in the adaptive reuse of an existing building. This project also argues for sustainability with the reuse and recycling of brick for a new envelope made on site with a robotic arm to create, in Philip's words, gradients of the smooth. Philip Yuan will present this project, as many others, amongst others, in his office. I'm saying a lot, but before I hand over to Philip, just a few words about the context and format of this series of presentations and interviews, Beyond the Envelope. This is the 3rd year in which I teach a graduate seminar in our MArch program, students behind us here. Normally this is in a morning class. We discuss and critically analyze a series of seminal recent built architectural projects with a focus on the architectural skin, its technologies, and the agency to create architectural effects and affects. By the end of this series, we'll have compiled a total of 21 analyzed projects and 21 interviews with their architects. The intended outcome of this endeavor is a published book with Oro Publishers, which I'm currently working on with the content from 2022 and 2021. The format of these events is a brief presentation by the architect, followed by a student-led interview. I'm pleased to introduce Master of Architecture student next to me, Shivani Singh, who will conduct this interview following Philip's presentation. Join me, please, to warmly welcome to New York Tech, Philip F. Yuan, Director and Founder of Archi-Union Architects and Professor at Tongji University.
Thank you. Thanks a lot to Professor Tom Vervas. Yeah, it's okay. Everything okay? Yes, thanks a lot for your generous introduction and old friend. I think Tom actually contributed a lot to the work. Most importantly, is the A visiting school actually to Shanghai, Hong Kong, another different cities around the world, and also spreading out the parametricism, the parametric design methodology. I think it can tracing back to more than 10 years ago. So thanks a lot for the invitation. It's my pleasure to come here to introduce the special topic today, matters, actually, which is based on the interview Beyond the Surface. And this is a very special practical work. We can trace it back to 10 years ago, and was constructed this project in 2016. So I'd like to address from three different topics: new materialism, craft-driven materialization, and the human-machine association. So firstly, from the philosophy topic, new materialism is a category of theories that was generated as a response to the linguistic term and attempts to offer different perspective to signification, materiality, and the methodology of crafting knowledge. So what the new materialists point out is that what's the world is what we know about things in the world cannot be considered different things. They actually was generated by different rules and by different new possibilities, including AIDC, GC. So what's the world and what we know about things in the world are constantly shaping one another. So under this scenario, we have been trying to explore the possibility of form generation by introducing the driving factors from various aspects, from the pure geometrical manipulation based on the materials to the performance of materiality consideration as well. Well, some of our projects are based on the understanding of new materialism step by step. The generation process is merely matter itself. We have also begun to explore deeply the human-driven of the material formation process. Here, what I mean about the human-driven is referring to the production aspects of the building life, rather than going into the discussion of constructing particular the human experience. So craft also become the driven factors. We name it the digital craftsmanship or robotic craftsmanship laterly, and to review the relation between the human and building form the materialization process. I'd like to start from the early project and get back to 2008, almost like 14 years ago. And this is my office, actually. So you can see the process, how we constructed buildings step by step. So these are the materials, actually, and also the context of the office. And this is the recent the view. Actually, you can see very clearly about the project under almost 15 years. Here is a video showing the circumstance. Really, I think last week, early morning as well, and showing the trees growing up, and also my neighbor. This is an artist studio, and this is my office, human space. So after almost 15 years, you can see the bricks and the grain race, and also including trees growing up, and relationship with the campus. Here, the wall, the concept, how we generate the form. The wall was inspired by the memory of the existing site, which used to be the silk workshop parametric process, were used to the superimpose the patterns of the silk forms while allowing the wind to enter. To fabricate the complex pattern, we design different rulers. We name it rulers, because at that time we don't have robotics. It's almost 15 years ago. So a number of guided rulers were designed to position the blocks, showing the relationships one by one. And actually, totally we have 12 rulers and showing 12 degrees to position each brick on the wall. So this is a photo. I stand in the middle, and also the local, very local workers. The left workers, Mr. Qian, also working with me, and actually we collaborate with each other for almost 15 years. So the local workers is very important, teachers how to construct a building. The material, you can see the cement block, which is really the low budget material, because each piece, I remember, around $0.25, 15 years ago. So we actually implement the really low budget material to construct the wall. So the wall, as I mentioned, consists cement blocks, and angles were created by the rulers, and which can control the interesting pattern, pieces by pieces, position them on the different sites. So when we join the details, we just point out different numbers, which can give us a different degree to position brick by brick on the wall. So light can penetrate the silk wall in the evening, which is showing the sense of the quietness and also the sense of materiality. But actually, we just implement the cheapest low budget material, but the pattern is out of the imagination after it's constructed. And then later, from 2014, we start to have robotics. So as a machine being introduced into the building industry, the materialization process of the form would not solo reply to the labor of human being anymore. So the definition of craft could also be transformed by the association between human and machine. So in this scenario, we believe the craft should not be interpreted as just a particular way of putting material together, but has to expand it into the organization of the building production system as a collaboration between the human and machine would define the new ways of construction and also become the new driven factors of the generative process to open the new formal possibility of matter. Anthony Picon introduced the concept of design ownership in 2016, and he reviews the further transformation and the emergence of digital technology. According to him, as the design idea could become the mobile in the transportation process of code, the ownership of the architecture design would not be limited in the direct design relation anymore, but opens to the copyright of design tools, such as software, plugin, and also the hardware, software, robotic platform as well. In sequence, the architecture design office would become the laboratory to exploring not only just design the building, but also try to explore the new possibility based on different tools, including softwares, hardwares. So as Bruno Latour proposed in his book, Laboratory Life, actually, we just follow this very fundamental philosophy idea to actually testing different craftsmanship to make the laboratory as a design exploring process to try to segment tools in our practice. So here, actually, I would like to introduce design process, how to implement very easy Rhino tools and also some plugin, the Grasshopper, to design the brick. So you can see here from line how to design the building from design to the wall. Actually, the lines actually after you follow the line, you can position the bricks one by one, follow tracing these lines layer by layer. If you control the curvature of the parallel lines, the bricks actually can very accurately position pieces by pieces, followed by this geometry. Here is you can see from line to wall, which is a parametric process, the digital masonry design. You can see different parameters embedded in this fundamental geometry, and different wall can come out. But also the last two pieces, you can see if the curvature is too sharp, and the breaks because the pixel is too big and to this curvature, you can see it's not to look so good. So everything is like optimization process. You need to control all the parameters and carefully to test a different pattern if we're good enough in the design process. And different possibilities. This is like cutting certain kind of holes in the middle. And if the breaks can position them pieces by pieces, followed by this geometry. At the same time, you should think about the structures. So this one, if you want to position the break like this, you need some like beams to support the cantilever or the span of a different distance. And also the curvature we test in the bottom as well. Here is some part of the design of the project I would like to introduce. You can see in the design process actually is totally based on the different testing process by the parameters, how to position the pixelization of the bricks onto this pattern, which guided by the axis XYZ. And also, this is another details of the Chisel project, and we want to cantilever the brakes as sharp as possible, but it should be safe for the brake self-support pieces by pieces by themselves. So the left one is okay, but the right one is too dangerous. So we're testing them by different possibilities on this coach. So this is all the scriptings we developed in the design office, and testing different possibilities by the initial geometry, which can control the brick wall. So when we actually construct this wall, the most important is not just by the cement, by mortar, but also we need some like structure support, the bending bars. And this bars was positioned every 3 horizontal lines. So the rebar should be optimized as well. And at the same time, also developed 2 robotic teams. 2 robotics can collaborate with each other to bending the rebars accurately, followed by the geometry. But actually, it's not straight one. It's like you can see, it's like point by point control, and also makes different rotation, zigzag rotation of the rebar. So this is a demo showing the rebar bending process. And next, I would like to introduce the on-site robotic measurement equipment. Actually, to 2023, we already optimized 9 generation of this platform. So before that, I would like to trace it back to the first edition, version 1. the on-site robotic machinery, actually every pieces were designed by the office, and also we install everything by ourselves. So you can see the design process. For example, this is a brick supply system. So we design all the details and custom everything around 2 months just for a brick supply system. And this is some equipment, including the system, how to set up robotic lifting and the control system. So the first edition in 2000, I think in 2014, actually we designed this the mobile platform, and which can move in to different position, but we need to spend around 2 hours for each moving because it's not automatic at the very beginning. And we fabricate a wall in Digital Future workshop. I think Sandra also here at that time, and Sandra and Matthias, they also participate. So this is really a version of the robotic brick. The brick actually, because of on campus, it's not a real brick. We use some timber brick to fabricate this pattern. So this is the second generation, which automatic moving by Magnum wheels, and also all the system goes to automatically. I think it's 2016. So equipment is something like this. The Magnum wheel can mobile moving this platform accurately by parameters, like 2 to 3 parameters, position them accurately on the site, followed by the guidance of the computer. And also you can see the control system, battery system, and also everything was set up very clear. And also we optimize the motor supply and brick supply system. And also we design all the equipment, the control system and the battery system, the electric system as well. So this is also after we can automatically moving the mobile robotics, we need to position them interior, exterior, and navigation technology becomes very important. So first we're testing interior circumstance. We position different sensors on the floor. I think it's in 2016 by the UWB. And also we're testing the navigation system models, and we implement this in the Chise in 2016 robotic machinery equipments. So this is a Chise project actually, how we introduce this mobile platform. I think it's generation 3 to construct the wall brick by brick, by actually controlled by one of my graduate students. And this is like demo in 2016, and how we construct the bricks pieces by pieces. So this is the another implementation. Actually, it's 2015, and we design. And today, not this project, but I also would like to introduce this building as well. By the pattern we develop, it's all different for the surface, the envelope of the buildings. You can see the pattern flowing on the facade. This is 2017, and actually I was invited to participate in the Chicago Biennale and introduce 3 projects. Actually, the right 2 projects was collected by the New York MoMA, and this is last year. Actually, 7 Chinese architects introduced our newly practice, including this project. This is a Chise. So I would like to introduce this project. So this is the introduction by the first formatting of ETH. And Chise also, I think, introduced by him, like the matter and mind, because we implement the recycle bricks And no one imagine it's fabricated piece by piece by robotics in 2016, but actually Philip Erzberg, like he mentioned, is showing a special attitude to the materiality and the materialism, because the recycle usage of the traditional material or the recycled material is very critical to the future sustainable society. And the Chisu is the art gallery, and which is very influential in China, which is starting from 1980s, at the end of 1980s. And actually, this building have a very good admire to this Chisu society as well. So the robotics, the mobile robotics which you introduced to the project actually put sensors on the top of effectors, which can testing, because each brick was recycled. So the size is not actually the same, but the sensor can testing the geometry center of these bricks. And the brick was positioned on the wall just by the center of the geometry, but actually the boundary was not so accurate. So you can see the very interesting accurate geometry, and also the texture and the materiality is not very sharp. It's like a very interesting feeling by this kind of fabricating process. So we retain the initial exterior wall, and followed by the elementary performance enhancement and structure reinforcement in order to provide the maximum expression space. And the gray bricks coordinate with the traditional buildings, which just tear down in the development, the very fast urbanization in Shanghai, which showing our new attitude, how to implement the recycled materials to the new buildings. So when the wall in the entrance is curved and up, we generate the winkle wall texture, becomes impressive part of the form manipulation, and which represents architecture expressions as well. This is status that embodied in the culture trends based on the tradition. So accurate, the precise positioning of the integrated equipment of the robotic machinery, fabrication technology, and the construction elaborate to the motor and brakes by the craftsman, make the traditional material brick be able to meet requirements of the new era, and also the new texture and new geometry and new actually sense of place was created by this kind of new technology. So under condition, the maintaining the space perspective of the whole artistic park, and part of the roof was evaluated in order to create the light. So you can see also we change geometry of the roof, but very small change of the geometry, and keep the traditional walls on the facade from different perspective, texture, details. So this is the environment. You can see, and the roof was tiered up, introducing the light from the roof, and also the office on the top to control the whole gallery, which is a really small project, but actually very attractive to people in Shanghai by different art event. So on the riverside of Hongpu River, you can see the context. So here, showing the diagram showing the form finding process by the displacement, stress, the wind load, and also we have a structure system hidden in between the initial wall and the new brick mesh walls, which gave the safety to keep the walls stand up. So every pieces of brick have their parameters, including the ventilation, the light could be introduced into the initial building, and also the wind load should be reduced from bottom to the top. So that's why the density is reduced from the bottom to the top as well. So this is the brick mentioned fabricate process. We design the project pieces by pieces. Every brick have a parameter, and we're moving the mobiles from the floor, and also we have an elevated platform which position this mobile platform to every corner of this brick wall system. So you can see the location, the brick layering, rotation axis, and also moving the mobile, and you can see the process was in the diagram. So we spent almost 30 days to fabricate this wall in Shanghai in 2016. So initial space, interior space also interesting. We introduced light and also folded the entrance, and which is super small gallery, but super efficient. You can see the light, which have a king wall, introduce the main art pieces in the exhibition. And also the floors leading people to the second floor, which is the office area of this gallery. And followed by that, I also have a lot projects because we have tools. That's why right now we have a lot of robotics, not one pieces, because the project going smaller, from smaller to the bigger and bigger one. So this is the edition or the generation 7 we developed in 2019 mobile platform. And we actually have this mobile platform, which is more efficient compared to the early version. And different projects, I think more than 10 projects were constructed after that. Because this is details which can produce not by human, but just by machine. This is a project in Wuzhen, the internet conference. We have different very small component cells, including the laboratory, including the different vendors and serving programs. So inside the campus. This is our design, small video short process. Okay, last but not least, we have one more project finished 2 years ago in Nanjing, which is a big one. I think it's more than 30,000 square meters. And the whole facade system was brick mentioned by robotics. So the very early, because it's located in the campus, and the campus is actually the horticulture expo. Everywhere is the garden and the trees, but the original concept is I just position one tree in the entrance of this hotel, and we're showing the certain kind of sense of place and of the environment. And all the bricks actually we try to introduce new technology to the export part. This is after the construction of the buildings. You can see And the trees still need time to growing up, but the walls actually have this very special texture, including accuracy, including the poetic pattern on it. So this is actually a design process by GIEC. I think we implement a new technology for the formation process right now. And from different perspective, actually all the patterns was connecting to each other as the very continued pattern on the wall. This one is a video. You can see the design process of the in-between walls we designed on this project. So it's coming from the pattern because it's located on the hillside. So different layers of the hills actually give the initial concept to generate the patterns of the walls. From certain perspective as a continued pattern, we just project this pattern to the wall brick system. And our mobile robotics was introduced to the project. We introduced six robotics and spending almost 4 months constructing this building. So this is, you can see, and the brick constructing and on-site construction pattern of the walls. And also the, this is the, you can see the process right now. Still, it's honestly, it's a human and machine collaborative platform. We still need human laborers to clean up the facade because the mortar is not very clean. We need one labor to clean them. But I think robotics play important roles is the accurate position brick by brick, which also very efficient. And we reduce the human labor and save the labor. At the same time, we create new possibilities also. So this is a facade detail system as an envelope surface on the wall system. And also the roof was the timber robotic fabricated. I will introduce maybe next time to you because this is different crafts. The building was constructed not by one material, right? So brick mansion is one of them. So you can see different time and the sunlight or the human light. So you can see the details have different materialities. So this is from the bottom to top. Okay, I think I will stop here and looking forward to have this discussion with you. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you very much, Philip. Really, for what has been a pleasure, a really poetic and precise presentation of a series of projects and strands of research in your office of a series of wonderful built projects. I'll introduce next to me again, Shivani Singh, who will conduct the interview.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shivani Singh. I am a final year student in the Masters of Architecture program at NYIT. I would like to thank you for your insightful and engaging presentation. I will start my series of questions talking about the Pond Society Chishi project is an adaptive reuse of an existing building using recycled bricks to create a new facade. Although this is a small building and not a new building, we find this project to be representative of an architectural, urban, and contextual context of China, construction context of China. Within the particular Chinese context of this project and of your work in general in China, what does the Chinese architecture context afford, which may not be available in West? In other words, what can you achieve in China, which is not possible in other parts of the world?
Yeah, I think this is a very good question. And I remember last week I made a presentation in Barcelona IAC, and the topic is non-local locality. So I think what is non-local is about technology, actually, which is globally people learning from each other. And also we set up the Digital Future as a sharing platform, teaching people how to develop a new toolbox and also how to implement these new tools from the sharing platform. For example, on GitHub, you can download everything, and also we upload our FE robot control system to the GitHub and sharing with others. So this is like a global culture, which is a non-local part of the new technology. But the locality is showing because of, for example, like the COVID, after COVID circumstance, we need to very locally address our daily life and also our relation between each others. So actually we need to to facing with different local circumstances, local client, local people, and local material. So my attitude to local practice, actually we need to consider the budget and consider the material, whether it should be new or old or recycled. I think the attitude for my office and my research team recently is about how to develop the recycled material, including the materiality, traditional materiality, and the new material like plastic, this new materiality, which can produce actually the new materialism, create the new potential new possibilities. So this is like a balance between the local and non-local. So your question, I think, which is really good, is something, the technology is abstract. You cannot shaping them. It's digital, right? People can learn from each other, and the practice is not just about local, which could be international. So I think this is super important to elaborate, and I think the digital technology and the local scenarios, and to implement all these new technology, different practice as well. So what I think about the robotics could be partner in the future to the designers, because actually this kind of construction process is not just by the contractors, which can be easily controlled by the architects. Architects, if you have 6 or 10 or 30 robotics, you cannot imagine what it can do, right, in the future. Maybe not the whole construction process, but also could be like very particular materiality, or the formation and the forms and the main space in certain buildings that can easily controlled by the designers. So that's the future, I think, for the education and for the practice. So I'm trying to testing firstly from my city, from Shanghai, and also right now goes to other parts in China, different cities, and goes to Hong Kong, Taiwan, and different South Asian countries. In the future, I think maybe followed by different possibilities. We would like also practice around the world. Yes, thank you for your question.
Yeah, so this building functioning as a gallery for exhibition is dedicated to cultural decimation and the cultural consumption. Set in a complex called the Pond Society Chishi Art Community. Can you share with us how you see the impact of this small building upon this art community and also upon the larger urban cultural context of Shanghai?
Yes, this location of the Chishi is really good, which is actually located in the center of the city riverside, because people, the city mayor, the city Shanghai, they try to develop this area, because before the development, this is the airport. That's why no buildings on this side, because it used to be a very big airport site. And when people start to develop the project, develop the site, most of the buildings are new materials, actually to construct high rise. And this community actually is especially produced to the artist. And when I visited the site, I think we see a lot of the tearing down warehouse, and the bricks spreading everywhere. And not every pieces of brick could be used, but I'm trying to testing if it's possibility not buying new materials, just recycle, use this kind of tear down recycle bricks. And they introduced this, the brick mansion platform gave a new possibility because the design can embed the new materiality and the new possibility of this recycled materials. So that's a special part for this project. And also the budget reduce a lot because we don't need to buy anything, right? So the cost of the budget of the building could transfer to the robotic fabrication process. I think the client really like this idea and give us a lot of support for the new possibility. So that's what we're doing, what we have done almost, I think 6-7 years ago, but it's really meaningful to us. Yeah. Thank you.
In broad terms, what do you see as a mission of architecture as a form of cultural practice?
The machine is abstract machine, including software, hardware. Right now, my office right now develop different software system, including every robot I introduced. You can download from the GitHub, which is a robotic control platform. And the second is FUSense, which is like the positioning, moderating software platform, because we need to position the robotics accurately on the site. So that's as a software platform, including some software, hardware as well. And the third one is FU generator. And also we introduced different modeling, the big modeling that developed by my PhD students. And FU generator can generate different form by different models. Right now we have around 20 big models, 20 different styles. That means, and this is some software platform by the scripts of the graduate and the PhD candidates here. So we abstractly developed them and also set up some softwares as a machine platform, and people can sharing with each other, can stand on the other shoulders to develop some new things in the future. And the robotics part is we have two scenarios, including the offsite big span big pieces. We can fabricate different timber pieces in the lab, in the factory, and also we have a lot of mobile robotics. And right now it's around 6 pieces as a group, which can engage in different real projects everywhere. We can transport them to different construction sites and set up like a temporary on-site digital factory, just with a tent, and position 6 robotics into the tent, and can very easily construct like the brick mansion walls on site. So we already construct a lot big every year 2 or 3 buildings in China right now. So the future, what our dream is sharing this hardware software platform with different people. That's Fab-Union. I founded Fab-Union right now, and some of my students after their graduation, they working in Fab-Union to engage into the architecture industry right now. I think it's super meaningful to the future industry and also critical because we're changing the working flow, changing the relationship between the architects and the fabricators and the clients. So we just directly, like designers can control not only the design drawings in the computer, but also we can control the construction process as well. Thank you.
In few moments, we will ask you some more detailed questions about the specific technology used in this project. But can you elaborate on the social agenda of how Archi-Union and Fab-Union deploy technology through this project? Ask another way, what is the social impact of your practices used of technology?
Yeah, I think Archi-Union is design office. I'm the founding principal of Archi-Union, and most of them practice. We have around 60 architects in the office, which is like a middle skill office here. And the most importantly is support our research, actually, including developing different softwares in the process, as mentioned, like some AIGC was also right now introduced to the design process, and also develop different training, different big models for different patterns and different possibilities. And Fab-Union is a robotic fabrication company, and also working, a lot of my former students, they become the leader right now in Fab-Union by different crafts, including the timber and 3D printing, and the brick mansion, carbon fiber, and so on and so forth, actually influence more and more people right now here. So I think it's like a working flow. We set up not only the teaching or education, which should because architect discipline is really special. We need practice. We need understanding the materiality, the material process of the space, how to create, how to construct, how to imagine, and how to fabricate them in the whole working flow. So I think what we have done is followed by our dream. So my dream actually is to change the discipline, architecture discipline, and to change the working flow, and also change the building. The building itself is not created by just human brain, but also collaborate with the machine, with the softwares. I think the human and machine collaborative future is our human future. So I think we embracing this kind of new intelligence, the architecture intelligence, which actually can give us a new possibility, a lot of new possibilities, right? In the architecture discipline. So thank you for your question.
Archi-Union spatial interests seem to us to be focused on generating a new modes of form making and the application of advanced material research. We are interested in the logic of the formalism and the Archi-Union architecture, and what serves as an inspiration of your formal interest. How do you develop your ideas for the project in your office into forms and spaces and materials? Do you sketch, and at what stage is the conception of the projects worked through the computation and the logic of fabrication processes and specific materials?
Okay, thank you for the question. Over the past 15 or to 20 years, our actually practicing experience is embracing the digital technology, actually. Neil Lynch and me founded the Digital Future platform 12 years ago. And actually the community influenced my practice and influenced my design thinking. So in one word, I think the digital computational design methodology and the robotic fabrication actually is the main keywords of what we're doing. At the same time, we have a very fast, booming construction experience in China. We have a lot of opportunities to construct new buildings. So my practice actually is based on these two very interesting scenarios. One is about technology development process, including AIGC right now. We also try different possibilities for the new the form which can be produced. I think the future, when the AIGC produce the form, we have very special style, which is about the continuous, which is about the collage, which is about the differential changes on the materiality. So if you want to fabricate all these kind of new AIGC form, you need to have some new technology, because you need to printing them, for example. You need to like fabricate them by some differential distance or difference, which present this kind of new materiality. So I think the robotic future is about it's like the mechanical AIGC, and which can fabricate the new possibility, which human cannot fabricate. So I think the office followed by this idea. On one hand, we're trying to explore the possibility for the new form, computational form. At the same time, on the other hand, we try to fabricate them through the robotic technology. So that is our future. We still want to follow with this idea to test the different new possibilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Within these Chinese constructional and technological context, you have presented how your work is concerned with the fusion of high technology with computation system feeding information to robotic arms for on-site construction, together with low technology in the use of an ancient material brick in some sophisticated machining combination with manual labor. In the fast pace of technological change in architecture with respect of computational tools and fabrication machinery and process, can we ask you to share with us how you became interested in these technologies? How do you develop your advanced expertise? And lastly, how do you remain in the forefront of the technological experimentation?
Yes, I think in the future, we name the labors. I think we should define the labors. In China, the transformation already there because the workers, the traditional workers, they become elder people, more than 50, they cannot go to the construction site. And the young generation don't like to go to construct any walls or buildings anymore. Maybe they would like to work in the factory, control the pad, which can control the robotics, and the prefabricated industry is booming up recent years. And in future, I think we should reduce the human work in the construction site and to adding some new possibilities by the collaboration between the designers and the robotics. So that's what I define the prefabrication factories and on-site. That's why our FU Sense is super important, which can position all the robotics and the prefabricated pieces accurately on the site. So in the future, we should reduce the human labor in the construction process, and also to increase the precise and accurate and efficient, more efficient construction process in the future industry. So in this industry is changing, and also produce the new possibility of future the jobs, right? And the education should redefine, should think about these changes. I think that's why I would like to make this lecture. I think it's super important to not only explore the new possibility for this kind of generative new form, but also we should redesign our working flow, redesign the relationship between the laborers and the designers. So that is super important to rethinking, redefine our discipline. So that's my suggestion or feedback to your question. Thank you.
Thank you. What are the biggest challenges for architecture today, and in which ways can robotic fabrication address these challenges?
I think the challenge is coming from the regulations and also from the capital, and the capital if they would like to invest in something new things, right? And I think that's also the opportunity, which is the challenge and the opportunity as well. And the future renovation becomes the main topic around the world, because the sustainable topic is super important. And the new invention should be introduced to the discipline. So the biggest challenge is kind of transformation from the research to the practice. I think that's super important. And secondly, we should also research in the social process. We should design the social process and the social system. And that's why I like the Bruno Latour's idea. I think the laboratory life should be transferred to the social life, right? That is, we need a long time. It's not a one-day revolution. I think we need education. We need education not only students, but education the social networks. So I think that's the new future, but not starting from tomorrow, which already start. We need to contribute to this process. Thank you.
Thank you. With respect of the Qixi Art Community Project, we have questions about the relationship of this project to the body of the work of your practice. How has Qixi project been influenced by other previous projects which Archi-Union has done before 2016? Or in other words, which of your projects led up to your interest and the outcome of the Qixi project?
Qixi is, I think it's already like 7 years ago. It's also an early project to us, but I think we can position them. That's why in my lecture today, it's not a single project. It's like a process from early Silk War to Qixi, and also to some biggest project like 30-some projects last year. 2 years ago we finished. So it's like a testing process. We change our tools. In Qixi project, we have only one mobile project, but right now we try to introduce like 6 robotics in one project. So it's like the version update. It's like the computer technology. We update the version of the hardwares. We update the version of design. We update the version of softwares. So it's like a generation by generation iterational process. I think that is really interesting to the education. It's a challenge, right? The education, the pedagogy, you should think about what's new, right? What's next, and what's the new materialism can produce, including some like we developed also some other plastic printing project, but the plastic could be modified plastic from different materialities in different scenarios. So there's also a very interesting recycle reuse scenarios. So that's broad. I think we need to find some other possibility to make further discussion on that. Thank you.
How has the project influenced other Archi-Union projects since 2016?
I think from that one, we start to collaborate. The Archi-Union start to collaborate with Fab Union and to very specially produce the materiality, which looks local, but actually have a very strong materiality sense of the feeling by our practice. I think that's we can translate. We introduce the computation and fabrication technology into the practice. So 2016 is like a transformation to the office. It's like a big shift from the design to the human labor to the human design plus the robotic labor. So that's like a transformation moment to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the next question, we would like to shift towards the discussion of the future consequences of your work, and especially the impact of your contribution to the culture and discipline of architecture worldwide. We understand your involvement in various modes of engagement as a practicing architect, educator, and researcher. You conduct research in context of professional practice of your office as an academic serving as a professor of architecture at Tongji University. You teach and conduct research, and importantly, you have launched a digital future world event, which hosted over 3,000 students in architecture for free workshops and lectures over past 3 summers. Please, can you share with us how you see the impact of the experimentation in architecture practice, education, and research in China upon the world? In other words, how is the practice and study of architecture in China influencing the architectural globally?
Okay, that's a good question. I think China make a big leap forward from learning from everything from the world. So I think for us, it's very important. I actually influenced by Tom, because when Tom set up the AA waiting workshop, which actually really influenced a lot the new generation. So I think New Leach and me, we found the digital future. I think our dream is actually to educate freely educate more people and to introduce these new computational technology to more people, right? In China, you cannot imagine we have more than 260 universities have architecture discipline, and most of them have no opportunity to learn the new technology. For example, like the professor like Anthony Picon from Harvard GSD, and including like Philip Rock from ETH. Normally, they have no possibility learning from them because they have no possibility for the traveling and also education in their university. But Digital Future produce a platform for the short workshop, like 7 to 9 days, and people have a new possibility to looking into what the thinking flow and working flow in the other teams and learning from the professors on the world. So actually, my team also all the PhD and the grad students learning from the world. Actually, also we're sharing our technology to the world. So we freely introduce FE Robot to the GitHub. You can download, pay nothing, but you can control more than 60 robotics on this platform, because this is a kind of sharing culture. We're learning from each other and also sharing to each other. So that is, I think, should be like a friendly collaboration around the world. And also we have a lot listeners or the participants from India, from Africa as well. So I think this kind of platform is bridging the technology, the learning process from each other, and also bridging the sharing culture in our discipline. Thank you.
Thank you. This interview and the study of set of projects in the Beyond the Envelope series of presentation and interviews are set up with the Master of Architecture a course here at NYIT. In this context, can you please share with us from your point of view any advice you may have for the next generation of architects?
Yes, I think the best time is coming, right? Because the AI is booming. So what we are doing right now is we develop not only the robotic platform, but also through the AIGC software development. So I think this generation have new possibility, not only thinking, learning the meaning of design, the design skills embedded in your human brain, but also you need to learn how to collaborate with the computer and with different softwares, especially collaborate with AI. We need to control the AI toolbox, right? So I think the future generation should, if you're still in the university, you need to try to find I think the benefits of design, because the design thinking is most important to control the whole working flow, including some computer scientists, right? They know how to script, but they don't know how to design. But the design process should should embrace all this new technology. So that's the future generation should do. So if you ask my advice, I think the competition of future is coming, AI future is coming, but also will change our discipline. So we need to embrace them. It's not just to try to say no to all this new technology. I think we need to balance the culture, balance the tradition to the future. I think it should embracing the future. At the same time, we should looking back and learning from the past. So that's what we're doing. Try to balance the tradition and the future. And every day should be learning some new things, and to develop new hardware softwares is most important work. not only just design the building itself, right? We should design the process, design the tools, toolkits as well. So thank you for the question.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Philip, really for a deeply enriching, engaging, and enjoyable presentation. And also thank you so much for your generosity with this interview. It's a real pleasure to see you. I hope we have a chance to see you in person sometime soon. So thank you very much on behalf.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Okay. Bye-bye. Looking forward to soon.